Greatness, it's not a talent or some elusive godlike feature that's only bestowed to prodigies or the special who walk amongst us. Greatness, it has nothing to do with our genetics, I would say. It's not about intelligence or even our upbringing. It's not nurture or nature. Greatness, in my view, is a drive. It's a pursuit. That unstoppable, all-consuming, striving for better. Some would probably call it passion, but I would. Passion it's a feeling that wanes. It's temporary. It's fleeting. Because it's an emotion. Like all emotions, it just sort of comes and goes. The kind of drive I'm talking about is obsession. Obsession is a fixation. It's unwavering. It's relentless. Obsession is a persistent desire, one that's consumes all of you, all of your thoughts and all of your feelings. Most every person that you would say whom has achieved greatness, they were all obsessed. Let's think about it. Abraham Lincoln was obsessed. Theodore, Franklin, Eleanor Roosevelt, all obsessed. Martin Luther King, Winston Churchill, Nelson Mandela, obsessed. Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, Michael Phelps, Serena Williams, Muhammad Ali, Wayne Gretzky, all crazy obsessed. How about Michelangelo, Picasso, Da Vinci, Frank Lloyd Wright, all of them. They were all obsessed with that persistent drive that I'm talking about, that strive for better. People who have that drive, that obsession, have a fire that rages within, a fire that can't be tamed, nor do they ever want it tamed. They want way more from life than others around them seem to. They actually dare to desire to. So I will tell you, these strivers that I'm talking about, they often feel weird or out of place on a, let's say, sunny Saturday afternoon. They'd rather be hammering away on their craft, doing what they consider their art, than laying on a beach or poolside. A few days into a vacation, and their knee starts bouncing because they can't wait to get back to work. People around them do not understand. They often criticize them. They ask, why are you always reading those books, listening to those podcasts, watching that Darren Daily, or going to those seminars? They just can't relate. They simply don't have that same drive inside. They don't have that fire raging inside. So greatness, it all comes down to drive. We all have been given the seeds of greatness. All of us, bestowed by our Creator. Every single human being born to this planet has them in them. But for some reason, and this is what I wish I knew why, most don't have that drive to strive, to nurture, develop, grow those seeds inside. So I think you'll know if you have it, if what I have described here speaks to you. If that voice inside says, yeah, that's me. I feel that fire raging inside. If so, then you have found your home and your tribe. You see, I built insane productivity for them, for the strivers, for those with the drive and the desire to be great.
I'll say there's two really major life epiphanies that I've had. I'll talk about this at our mastermind meeting on next Monday as well, by the way. But I think this is helpful for a lot of other people as they're starting to architect their business model right now. Yeah. And one is that for my whole life, I've had this idea of goal setting has been central to my whole life. And so it's always like, what are my big, hairy, audacious goals this year? What do I want to do? And usually it revolved around business building, professional goals and objectives, because those are the most measurable, tangible, and that's how society rewards you, right?
Of course.
So, and then what ends up happening is I keep going for these big, crazy goals, and then I try to have a life around that.
Yes. Yeah.
And so what I learned, and I learned this from a mentor, and he said, you gotta flip this model, and you have to figure out what kind of life you want to lead.
Yes.
What kind of lifestyle do you want to have? and then figure out what business supports that, which is opposite. And it was a huge epiphany because I was not having much of a life, even though I was doing well business and having fun with that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with
you've got
great achievement.
You have an enviable life, and I completely understand.
But my real life was in complete sacrifice. And so what I wanted to reorient was, what kind of a life do I really want to have? And then what business would support that? Well, that determines what model I go after.
Right.
And then the other thing that I realized, and I think I talked about this at one of our masterminds as well, is that I came down to the conclusion that I want simplicity. It was after spending a lot of time with Richard Branson, in fact, because I always thought I wanted to be Richard Branson. But then I met and got a chance to spend time with Richard Branson. I realized I don't want to be Richard Branson because my brain doesn't work like his does. He can have 125 lawsuits going on, 400 companies moving and shooting, and sit there and be relaxed and have a great time and be jovial. I'd be out of my skull with that kind of complexity and those kinds of problems. We're just wired differently, right? So I realized that what I want is simplicity. Mental, emotional, and psychic simplicity. I want a business model with few SKUs, few employees, lots of profit, and supportive of my life and lifestyle. And so the back end modeling ends up becoming, and the thing we talked about before we started rolling the cameras is, what do you really enjoy doing? Of all the things you do, what do you really enjoy doing? What I really do enjoy doing is spending more time going deeper with fewer people. So I do this high performance forum, which is CEOs or business owners of $1 million business or more, restricted to only 24, 3-day intensive with a year follow-on program. And it's some of the most enriching, rewarding, and meaningful. And then I take on, I select very, very few of those and actually I set up a board of advisor relationship. And again, it's expensive. It's kind of a performance up, on gross revenue improvement, but it's deeper, it's meaningful, and I get to really know that there's sheer transformation. And it's the other thing is I can talk to a broad market, or I can talk to a few influencers who then in their own work, in their own marketplaces with their own business models, go out and spread a wider message than I could actually if I continue to just try to spread it individually. So I want to influence the influencers is the other epiphany that I came up with. So doing it all again, I would get really clear about what kind of life, what kind of business model would support that, what kind of criterion of a business fits my mental, emotional, and psychic satisfaction.
Right.
And then lock that down and then figure out what are the tools on the front end that will feed that and still fit my model of simplicity and elegance and high quality and high standard and and all the rest of that.